Hello, friends. It's Joni here. Are you ready to see my chair? Let's go check it out. I've been working on it. We're going to go through the fibers. So here she is. Of course, she doesn't sit like that typically, but this way I can show you. This is the front. So we'll start there. This chair, I believe I paid about $15 for this chair several years ago. And a couple of years ago, I had this idea of covering it with stuff and collaging the chair. And so for the past couple of years, I've been collecting things. I really liked the design. That's why I got the chair, but the back is just gray. And that's what I'm covering. So you can see the front. You can still see it's got little houses and trees. And she was in pretty good condition. And so I got her. Now, I can't sit in a chair regular, so I have to have my feet up. So this chair was wide enough that I could fit in it with my feet up and comfortable. So I just have a couple little doilies on the arms. You know, it's a work in progress. The doily in the chair originally cushion was up here, but I've replaced it because it's very large. I put it there in the seat, and then up here I just layered the colors to mimic the colors that were in there. And for the front here, I had this pillowcase that I had in my stash. Not totally sure where it came from, but I decided to leave it as a pillowcase for now. I'm not going to cut it up because I kind of like it just like that. I like it peeking out the bottom. And then I put lace around. So in one of my luck finds on Marketplace, a lady was destashing a whole bunch of lace and ribbon. And so, I mean, not ribbon, but lace and appliques and doilies, you know, these kinds of things. And I got a bag from her, and these were some laces that were in it. And they were long enough and big enough that they'd go around my chair. The one on the bottom that's not ruffled, that piece could only go around it once. But I mean, there's like that much left over. So it fit perfectly. It was meant to be. So I put that around the bottom. And then I had this strip, which is much longer, and I was able to ruffle it. So I layered the two. And they're only pinned currently. So as you can see there, they are just pinned. I have not started to glue the lace around yet. So the bottom of my chair, nothing's actually glued there yet. So I can put the lace on. So that's what the front of the chair looks like. Oh, I'm on the floor. So there's the front. So let's go around where I have not done much work. So this side over here still needs some work. And there I've got, as you can see here, I'm kind of behind something. That's what was left over of that lace. So the top lace, I'll ruffle that out so that meets perfectly. That's why it's just pinned at the moment. I haven't started gluing. I'll have a glue day again where I've collected a few more things, have a few more things ready. Then I'll turn the chair over so that the part I'm working on is flat, and then I'll let it dry and I'll glue it. And that's kind of how I did it in stages. So I put that really pretty piece there. I like that kind of hanging over, adding to that ruffle effect. You can see I have plenty of space here. And then I started adding pieces to the other side. So we'll go over there. And, oh, I tried to move it so you could see, but on the side here, I've just got that kind of eyelet there that's wrapping around the corner. The eye wraps around the corner, and then this doily wraps around the corner, and then I'll have this piece. Look at how pretty that piece is. And that piece will be hanging out there. And then these are kind of on the corner. So I'll start. So there's not much here. Now, when I did this project has special meaning to me. So this chair is actually kind of a little bit of a diary of my life. So there's things represented on it that have very special meanings to me. You can see here I've got my prim patch from my prim's hat from church, and then these were some things that I crocheted kind of early in my career when I was starting to get a little bit better. So put them on there. That's just a patch. And then I also have, you know, lots of appliques, layers with the doilies in the background. Another really pretty piece there. I got my little space and my mushrooms. And so everything reminds me of something. This right here is the center of a big Afghan. And I just shrunk it and I used thread for it. And I think it turned out so cute. That would just grow into a giant Afghan, one of those really fancy ones. And I have my little mustache monkey. Now, Carrie, I actually had 2 of these little monkey patches. Yours won't have a mustache because they only had 1 mustache, and I put it on mine because it made me giggle. But I'm going to send you the other monkey because I'm only going to use the one, and I'll send it with your Elvis. So it's in a bag there. I'll get that out soon. I really liked this piece here. I loved the look of that. So I wanted to use it. And then I've got the bicycle. Actually, my first bicycle was one from, I grew up in Phoenix, and we had a show called Wallace and Ladmo, and they were at Burger King one day, and my parents bought one ticket. It was $1, and for a gift certificate to, I want to say it was Sears, and I think it was $65. So that was a lot of money back then. That would have been like 79 or 80, something like that. And that's what I bought. I bought a bike. I wanted a bike. And it was blue. And it said Country Girl on the side right here. And it was my horse. And we rode it, rode it like crazy. The little butterfly and the mushrooms kind of coming out. I kind of liked that. I do incorporate a lot of cherries, so you'll see a few cherries in the project and other projects because my grandparents lived on Cherry Street, so cherries always kind of make me think of my grandparents, and so that's why I'll incorporate it into my things. I got my little spaceman and my space. I won't go into why that's there. There's a little mushroom with a strawberry. Let's see. I've got a little girl there. There's another little kitty with a strawberry. Ah, they're so cute. And some mushrooms. I got this as a little camp thing from SpongeBob, but I went to camp like every year since I was 5. Even in college, I went back as a counselor, so I thought that would remind me of camp. And here's another, this would be another Afghan center that I used thread instead of the heavy yarn. And I got that. And the Volkswagen reminds me of, I've had this patch for a very long time. When I was in high school, I had a friend who got a Volkswagen van for her birthday, and but she couldn't drive it. It was a stick. I drove it. I could drive it. So we weren't supposed to drive it, but we took it out. And it ran out of gas. We had to get it back to the house without her parents knowing. We managed. We did it. And so that story just, reminded of that. That patch reminds me. These 2 patches are kind of fun. This one's from my, I took the patches off of my Girl Scout sash. And I'm going to use some of them in here. And this one is from the father-daughter dance there. And it was, you had to dance like, from the 50s or do all these different dances. And my dad and I won first prize. And so I put that on there. And then when I lived in Maine for a while as well. And my mom and I would stop at Lone Oak Ice Cream. And they had the most enormous ice creams you'd ever see. So that patch kind of reminded me of that memory. And then I just like the little umbrella girls. I mean, that's beautiful. Happy face. I liked the colors there. This is another one that I made, and I really like the colors, and I thought that little unicorn Pegasus thing looked pretty there. You know, like any girl, back in the 80s, I liked unicorns as well, and I gave my unicorn collection to my Wii, so she's got a little shelf of some unicorn figurines, but, so that kind of always, that'll remind me of me and her. That is my letter from high school. So that's my chair letter. And so this is kind of high school where I felt very spaced out. And what? No, I'm a no person. I'm a no person. And then I've got the ice cream again, reminding me of these stories of ice cream and the cherries from my grandma. And then the Chattanooga Choo Choo, because I do love trains. I have, hang on, hold on, right there. Oh, up on that shelf right there, I have a vintage train set that was gifted to me, and one day we'll do a video and we're going to fix that whole shelf up and display everything real nice and pretty. I've been collecting things for that, spice racks and different things there. So, that's not a stain. I was like, oh no, wasn't there before. It's just a shadow. So I don't have everything glued down. I did use a fabric or just a tack glue. I didn't use hot glue. Hot glue's detrimental to fabrics. You know, and then I've got another little alien there. I don't believe in aliens. It's a kind of a private joke. Too long to sit here and explain nonetheless, but there's some patches. That's another little doily I made. Here is a little piece that I added there at the top, and it's scooped down. It's so pretty, and I added this little patch here. And then, you know, there's a few more little pieces there, a little vintage doily and a little patch with buttons. That one's knit for brains. I'm knitting brains. That makes me giggle. I have a magnet that a friend of mine got me that says zombies are crap at knitting. I don't knit. That's the joke. And then I got, you know, my X-Files, more, you know, just private little things. I found this a long time ago. I've held on to this for a while. So like do epic stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's going on my chair. So I've been hanging on to that for a minute. And a butterfly. There's that doily. It's kind of 3D. This came from the early days of Etsy. When Etsy first began, I was lucky enough to be a seller back then, and it used to be a really fun place. And I liked to play with little felts and do this, but I was not very good at it. But I met other women that were, and I bought things from them, and we swapped. And over behind me, I have a wall. I have turned them into magnets. So a lot of the little felt pieces that I had swapped or purchased became magnets because they were so beautiful. I just love them. So that's my little Cheshire cat hanging out there. I love that, of course. Some little appliques. This one is, well, we'll go around the side here in a minute. I'll just keep going. More appliques. You know, I've already talked about that thing. I liked this one. Well, sorry, I like board games. I have a collection of vintage board games and regular board games as well. It was just something we did. A lot of us did back then, you know, in the 70s and 80s. We played board games, 60s, you know. Those were family things. You know, go to the toy store, pick out a new game. Thanksgivings and Christmases in my family. But my grandma, I spent a lot of time with her. I was an only child, and I hung out with her a lot. It was very good, so she let me hang out with her more than any other cousin. And her and I would play Sorry and Trouble. And so I found that patch, and I thought, God, put that on there too. That's going to remind me. So I kind of put all of these together to have, you know, like a little not cool, sorry, positive vibes only. I really liked that patch. And then I added this little trim here just to kind of soften that hard edge. And there, you know, we're back to, this was the little patches. This was a little crochet heart I made out of some leftover yarn, and it had like a gold sparkle to it. You can see it. So I found this little gold peace sign button, and I stuck it on there. Kind of go with it. So we'll move it around now. I'll give you a big overview look again at the end. This was just a piece of lace that I tied into a bow. I stuck a tiny little mushroom there, and then I loved that little butterfly girl. And I'll pull back some. See how the Cheshire Cat's just kind of hanging out in the flowers. They might try to find like a face bead or something to put in there. When I had my booth, I had an Alice in Wonderland themed booth. So when you came into my booth, it felt like you were in Wonderland. I had flowers with faces, and I had the little, I turned like a lampshade, and I put tulle and little tights and little shoes so it looked like Alice falling down. And I had a little chair and a frame and stuff hanging from the booth. So when you walked into my booth, I mean, it really felt, and I would dress up like Alice. That was decades ago now. You know, that's been, wow, a really long time ago now. So this was another little patch. Oh, well, I should talk about this one. So this one came off of a purse. When I was doing my market, there was a lady there that would just take vintage, or not vintage purses, like purses from the thrift, cheap and expensive purses. Then she would just patch the snot out of them and add all kinds of junk to them. And they were so freaking gorgeous. And I bought one from her one day, and I wore it out. I wore it out. It fell apart. I had it years. I just loved it. And so this was one of the pieces that was on it that I'd saved. And so I wanted to put it on my chair. And I just really like the way that eye looks. Look how pretty. It was an eye patch. And then I added that doily there. Just, I really love that. Just one more stitch. That was some more of the little, you know, sewing type patch. And that piece there, I think, is real pretty. It had little eyelets. So left that. This is a little piece of lace that I'd made. There's a little applique corner that I stuck there. This piece here came off of a dress that was Wee's, and I cut it out, and then I put a little bit of eyelet, what is that? Tatting around it. And isn't it so cute? I love it. That's actually like the first piece I put on after I'd gotten the big pieces on. This is a little doily. I fell in love with this pattern, so I actually made quite a few of these. I still have a couple more in my craft room, but there's that one. I stuck it on there. The colors looked good. I can't remember if I talked about these things or not. I think so. And then this is, this was a corner doily, like a square doily. So I thought I'm going to put that on the corner. I'll have a doily on all the corners of the legs, I think, just to kind of, you know, add a little, you know, texture and design. But I liked that one there. So that kind of, this is kind of where I started from, and then I kind of worked that way, and that's why I haven't got around to the other side. But I stuck that there, and I think that looks really pretty as a corner piece. You know, treat people with kindness. Don't forget. This was some ribbing from an outfit that I frogged. I took apart, and I kept the ribbing, and I had kind of showed it as maybe like a journal tie. I was trying to think of ideas of what to do with it, but I ended up turning it into a bow and sticking it there. There's another piece that will go underneath it right here that's a little girl, and these two little parts will kind of just frame her perfectly. So that will go on the next glue session I did. There's a doily. And then I want to show you, this is also some of my trim. So I just glued that across. And it's a big long piece, so it goes all the way across there. Down at the bottom, I'm going to add a few more different little trims of lace. This was like a small piece, and I think that adds to the depth there. I like it. And then this piece here, I turned into a little pocket. I have ideas to do a couple other pockets. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this real well because the lighting is on the other side of the room. Let me see. I'm getting some sliders. There we go. I think that's better. Whoops, not with my finger in the way. So this is when I first started crocheting, not when I first started crocheting, but along those first little, you know, bit there, I was practicing this little mushroom stitch, and I've since made something that using that stitch. And I have one of the pieces in my room. I'll show that when I eventually do a room tour. Maybe I'll do one, I don't know. And so I glued it on there. But when I was making it, you know, it wasn't perfect, but I liked it. And I thought, because I have a thing for the black sheep. I'll show you up here. A friend of mine got me this. Look, that's the little black sheep. She says, I knew that was you. When I saw that, I had to get that for you. So, so that's kind of a running joke. Again, this chair is me. And so I did the little white sheep, the little black sheep, and I thought that was so cute. And I've just hung onto it for all these years. And now I'm going to put it on my chair. And so I'll put something in there to kind of poof it out a little. If I tighten it, it makes, you know, the linens pull, and I don't like that. So I'm going to leave it loose and, you know, maybe put a little stuffed animal, or I don't know, I'll find something that I can put in there that would be, you know, a little surprise. So that's that. And so that's the side. I still have more work to do here. As you can see, I've got some more items. And that's the chair. So now I'll just get up and I'll do a walkthrough while I'm moving the chair. So right there on the trolley is where I have all of the stuff there. So I've got little pockets, and remember, you've been seeing me. So as I've been working on this project, you know, I'm sharing the extra parts that I'm not using and I'm not going to use. And so I have a lot of things on this cart that eventually, you know, some of it will make it onto, because like that would be a really pretty, almost like a lace, like a, you know, to put at the bottom. So I'm going to do that. But let's take a little look. So there she is. Oh my goodness, I just love her. She's so inspiring. And I know that when I'm going to walk in here, I'm going to see the chair and I'm going to want to sit in it. There is a rule, I will say. I've made a rule. No one is allowed to sit in it but me. I don't want it to get ruined and it be because you know, and it not be my fault. So for the safety of the other people in my house of having to listen to me cry because something happened to it. I'm eliminating that. So let me kind of slide it in so you can kind of see what happens when I walk in, when it's in its correct place. So like I said, I'm going to get some sliders because, you know, to vacuum and to clean up my mess and stuff, it'd be easier. Before I actually rearranged my room so that my chair was my focal point. So I've had this idea for a long time, but right before I started this, if you look in the video of where I first started it, the chair was right here, and that's because I had that table here and then the chair. And since I climbed in it, it could be right up against the back. And I used that open space. But then once I started to do the back, I was like, that's not going to work because now I won't be able to see it. So I sat and sat and sat, and I thought, dummy, why don't you just move the desk up and make yourself this here? So that's what I did. So this is kind of my little area here where I'll kind of sit and crochet. And then I've got my table desk where I can do my projects. My computer turns. So, and then it also will turn in a way that you can see the TV or the computer from both chairs, so I can watch something with someone. So anyway, that's kind of how it works. And then now I've got this great big area here. I love it. It's about to get filthy because I'm going to start, I've got some magazines waiting to be chopped up. So there's my chair. So I'll show you. You know, I come in my door here. Oh, my rug here. Okay. So when I come in my door, I'll just come out. My door has all of my fibers on it. Boop, 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 boop. see. The door has all of my fibers on it. There's my robe. And then when I come in, that's what I see. And it says, come inside and craft with me. And I go, yes, I will. I will come inside and craft with you. Anyway, I hope that you find this, you know, as inspiring as I do. I would love to know if this inspires anybody else to do this, and let me know, and we'll share things. I got a whole cart of things that would love to go on someone else's chair. So there it is. Yes, I'm a swapper. I'm a happy mailer. I like to do those things. So there we go. So let me know. Fun. Pretty. Thank you. Bye, everybody.